John Kerry did an interview with CNN's Fareed Zakaria, and he spoke about Trump's withdrawal from the Iran deal. This is a deal that John Kerry worked very hard to get. Let's take a look.
On July 14th, 2015, then Secretary of State John Kerry stood before the world and announced against all odds the United States, Germany, the UK, France, China, and Russia had reached a nuclear agreement with Iran. On May 8th, 2018, President Donald Trump stood before the world and announced he was withdrawing from what he has called the worst deal in history.
The United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Joining me now, John Kerry. What is your reaction to the United States withdrawing from that deal?
Well, I think it's a very dangerous and ill-advised move that is not based on any broad strategy that is drawing other countries to the table to be supportive of it. Rather, I think it represents a campaign promise made by the president, the heat of a campaign, which he followed up on, but which has no basis in achieving the goals that the president has set out, if there are goals. This agreement, merely saying this agreement is the worst agreement, actually doesn't make it the worst agreement. It is, in fact, the single strongest, single most accountable, single most transparent nuclear agreement anywhere in the world. What the president has done is simply said, I'm going to get out. And whatever dangers might have existed way down the road if they were trying to break out or something different were happening, which we would have known and had every military option available to us way down the road or then or now, he suddenly rushed to making the way down the road be now, tomorrow. And in doing so, he has empowered the hardliners in Iran. He's given power to the people who said, you can't negotiate with the United States. You can't trust them because they're the great Satan and they're gonna burn you. Well, guess what? Donald Trump proved them right. And he's put President Rouhani and those who are trying to move to a more rational and reasonable position in a much more difficult political and substantively difficult position with the Ayatollah, with the IRGC, the hardline Republican Guard of Iran. And I think it actually works against American interest as a result of that.
So, not a big John Kerry fan, but I think he nailed it on everything he said there. Indisputable, a lot of that was. If you're so afraid of, if you say, oh my God, this deal's so bad, and then eventually under this deal, 10 years down the road, they might be able to start making a weapon. Well then, if you pull out of the deal, as Trump did, you just made 10 years down the road today. So do you understand that? That's a fundamental contradiction at the heart of the argument made by the far right on this issue. Oh my God, under this Iran deal in 10 years, they could maybe kind of start breaking out and building a nuclear weapon, and that's unacceptable. We need the deal to last forever. That doesn't make any sense because you pulled out of the deal, and now the thing you feared about from 10 years in the future is happening today. So that's dumb. Like, that's really, really stupid. And then the other point that's totally true, and his point I've made before is, when you pull out of the Iran deal, what you just did is gave the far right in Iran, the hardliners, you gave them a big win because they were warning from the beginning, hey, Rouhani and the moderates, don't do it. Don't trust the Americans. They're going to stab you in the back. They're going to screw you over. They're going to fuck this up. They're going to pull out of the deal. They're going to hurt us. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. And Rouhani goes, yeah, whatever. We're going to make a deal with him. Cut the deal, and then cut to today. The very next government, the very next administration goes, yeah, okay, we're just going to pull out of this willy-nilly. By the way, we did the deal. It wasn't just us and Iran. You had all these other countries involved in the deal, and I think one of the reasons for that was, okay, well, it ensures that the next administration is almost forced to abide by the deal. But what does Trump do? I don't care. I'm going to pull out of it. And so now Rouhani looks like a fucking idiot. Now his approval rating is incredibly low, and now you made it so the right wing is emboldened. So far-right lunatics beget far-right lunatics in respective countries. That's what happens. And we watched it unfold. So terrible, terrible, terrible move. And then on top of all of that, listen, I'm not saying we had like, oh, the American name wasn't tarnished pre-Trump, because it was. But he took it to the next level, man. Now nobody will trust the United States with anything. Why? Well, we had the Paris Climate Agreement. He pulled out of that. We had the Iran deal. He pulled out of that. And then now you expect, like with North Korea, like, oh, well, let's enter into a good faith agreement. Why the fuck would they do that? They just watch you pull out of the last two agreements you did. And then on top of all that, even on this specific issue, look at what happened with Gaddafi. Oh, I'll give up my weapons. And we go, oh, thank you, Gaddafi. Anyway, now we're going to topple you anyway. So what lesson does that send to the world? Don't trust the Americans. They will stab you in the back. They will fuck you over. And then at the same time that this is happening, it is true you have the rise of China. So as we're falling all over ourselves, making horrendous decisions and violating agreements left and right with sovereign nations, what's China doing? Well, take a look at what they're doing in Africa. They go in there and they make deals, and they're basically like colonialist deals where they say, oh, we'll build your infrastructure, but then in return, you need to allow us to have a certain percentage of your resources. So see, this is the way, I mean, the genius of the American empire post-World War II was, okay, we are not going to do it the way the British did it, in that the British would just fucking come there, stay there, and jack your shit. What we're going to do is we're going to have surrogates. So that's why you saw all the fucking, U.S. backing 73% of the world's dictatorships, which we still do today. That's why you saw, hey, we have our own fascist puppets control these countries. And then those fascist puppets have deals with the U.S. government, and then we end up exploiting a lot of their resources and things of that nature. But it was different from the British because we had surrogates do it for us. Well, China seemingly went one step even further, where it's like, okay, it's sort of like mutual deals with these other countries. So instead of like the U.S., where now we bully people left and right, and we violate deals willy-nilly, China, it goes into places and says, okay, we're going to make a deal with you, we're going to stick to the terms of that deal, and also there's stuff in it for you. So they took a page out of the U.S.'s imperial book, they're implementing that and then some, going one step further. And then now you see all these countries, they want to do deals with China. And they're like welcoming in the next empire. Whereas us, I mean, we couldn't be despised more around the world by our actions. And then whenever we do have a deal, we violate it immediately. And our fucking clown president is speeding up this process. And it's just a weird thing to watch. It's like you put into overdrive the collapse of an empire. And we're all witnessing it. And I just fear the crash landing because I know it's coming. Let me say this. John Kerry, the reason why he's all over the place now is he released a book. Why did he release a book? Because he wants to run for president again. Oh boy, here we go. So John Kerry, he ran for president against George W. Bush in 2004. We had already had 4 years of shittiness with George W. Bush. And John Kerry managed to lose against George W. Bush. If there was anybody who should not run against Trump, judging by the empirical evidence, it would be John Kerry. It would be Hillary Clinton and John Kerry. Because they've already demonstrated that they can't beat an idiot far-right lunatic. He's already demonstrated it with Bush. How beatable was Bush in 2004? Very beatable. Kerry couldn't do it. Why? He ran as Republican light. He's like, I'm like Bush, except I'm smarter. How'd that go? It didn't work. So this is the guy we're going to trust now to run another Republican-light campaign against Trump? Don't do it. Don't do it. Well, actually, wrong. As somebody pointed out to me on Twitter, and they're correct. Do it. Because if you do it, John Kerry, then what happens? You split the establishment vote more and pave the way for a progressive. I'll take it.